My sister decided one day that my face was too good to waste, so she borrowed my ID photo and went fishing online. Her plan was simple: reel in a cute girl to hang out with. What she actually caught was a shark. The person on the other end of the line turned out to be a law major with a background that could make grown men sweat, the cold and dazzling Vivian Shaw. The moment Vivian got a proper look at my photo, she took it as a personal insult to her intelligence. By the next morning, she'd nailed a campus-wide fraud bounty to the confession wall, and it was merciless. Campus-wide anti-fraud bounty. This individual is using an AI-generated photo to commit malicious fraud. No man alive actually looks like this. The image is 100% doctored. Generous reward for any solid lead. Someone tried to reason with her in the comments. Careful there. What if it isn't faked? What if that's genuinely her real brother? Vivian answered like she'd already carved it in stone. Not possible. A face like that doesn't walk around a real campus. A sister's debt gets settled by the brother. Bring the signed agreement to the gym tomorrow and come find me. Otherwise, pack up and leave. She had no idea that at the basketball game the following day, she'd be looking straight at that impossibly perfect, godlike face in the flesh. Right then, she opened her phone and quietly edited the post. Update: my future in-law seems terrified of me. She's threatening to drop out. How exactly should I word this agreement to make him stay? Waiting online, kind of urgent. Let me back up. My sister Chloe and I are boy-girl twins, but somewhere in the womb, the brains got handed out very unfairly. It's like I reached over and grabbed both shares before we were born. While I was collecting gold medals at math Olympiads and doing research, she was playing with dolls. When I locked in early admission to a top university, she was still getting scolded by teachers for confusing pinyin with English. Somehow, this walking disaster stumbled into the very same university as me on an art scholarship. Unbelievable. A few days into the semester, she came bouncing over to me, glowing. She'd met a stunning, high-tier VIP online and figured this was her golden ticket into elite social circles. I warned her that people with deep backgrounds are not toys. She waved me off. As long as they're pretty, who cares? For a while, she reported to me daily. Bro, she added me back. She accepted my request. She talks so professionally. She even discusses law with me. Is this what dating a big shot feels like? Then one day, she showed up in a full-blown panic. Bro, save me. She wants to meet in person tomorrow. I'm losing my mind. Please help me. When that message landed, my thesis advisor was breathing down my neck and my skull was splitting. Without really processing what I was agreeing to, I mumbled a yes and went back to work. I pushed past midnight, fired off the thesis, and finally exhaled. Then it hit me. Wait, what exactly did I just agree to? My roommate forwarded me a thread blowing up on the school forum. My fingers slipped and I clicked. The poster's handle radiated danger, the words practically leaking gunpowder. To the sick freak using an AI photo to scam people, kindly get out of this school. The comments section was feasting. Miss Shaw's a law major. She loathes liars. This guy walked right into the blast radius. Vivian's reply came fast, her fury bleeding through the screen. I study law. I despise fraud and forgery. Using a fake face to con me? Does he have a death wish? Make him drop out. Another comment. You watched him for that long and only just now realized it's a fake photo? This scammer really messed with the wrong person. I found a dorm room and marched over. I cornered the guy at the end of the hallway. He broke down, sobbing that the profile picture was his real brother, that his brother actually looks like that. Hilarious. Does he think I'm that gullible? Nobody that gorgeous in a photo exists in reality. The hallway was dim. I stared at the fake photo, and the longer I looked, the more familiar it felt. My stomach dropped. That wasn't a stranger's face. That was the exact ID photo I'd taken last week, the one so absurdly good-looking that everyone insisted it was AI. Across campus, Chloe was curled in her dorm chair, tears streaming, hammering out apologies. Right then, Vivian posted again. This one scares easy. Started crying before I did a thing. Kept screaming about a brother. Said the brother will show up at the gym tomorrow at 10 a.m. to sign a repayment agreement. So he wants to talk subrogation with me? Fine. He claims the brother is the absolute ceiling of good looks. I'll be right there. Let's see how I unmask this Photoshop fraud. I froze. My head spun. There was no dodging this. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'd have to show up. I stared at the post hunting for any proof my sister didn't do this. And in the end, I just slumped in defeat. This idiot running around scamming strangers with my photo really was my own flesh and blood. Chloe Carter, you absolute menace. The forum winds had fully shifted. This rich girl talks tough. She's genuinely furious. Somebody warn the newbies. Vivian Shaw is the infamous demon of the law department. Her family's terrifyingly powerful. Everyone tiptoes around her. That scammer's toast. He kicked the hardest steel plate on the entire campus. Reading it, my heart went cold. By every novel trope I'd ever consumed, a rich, powerful, short-fused person is the worst possible opponent. I wanted to drag Chloe out and shake her. Instead, I dug up the contact info she'd handed me and added the person she'd been chasing. Before I could even plan an opening line, the request went through. I'm Chloe's brother. About the photo. It's genuinely a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? You use that impossibly handsome fake face to string me along for half a month, and now it's a misunderstanding. That photo is real. It's literally my ID photo. No filters, no editing. If a face like that is real, I'll leave both baskets of basketballs sitting on that court where they stand. Stop wasting my time. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., bring the repayment agreement your sister promised. Be at the gym. If the real person doesn't show, I expose the whole thing and get him expelled. Chloe, I thought, maybe I should just let you delete your account and start life over. This is not the kind of mess a quiet academic like me signed up for. Whatever. Sleep. Right before bed, my hand slipped, and I checked the thread again. The vibe had gone off the rails. OP, what if the brother really is jaw-droppingly hot? Can good looks pay rent? Miss Shaw values her word above everything. If she says she'll wreck him tomorrow, she will. Not gonna lie, I want to see how ugly that godlike face is in person. Somebody live stream it. Impossible. No one on earth looks like that. He's just a con artist. First time in my life I've been played. I'm collecting my payback tomorrow. Those two better watch their necks. I close my eyes, heart like coal dash. Great. Tomorrow's going to be a battle. I have to save Chloe's academic life and somehow get this Shaw girl to shred that. Repayment agreement. Morning came with Chloe blowing on my phone. Bro, save me. Bring the apology letter. Wait for me downstairs. Bro, I was wrong. I changed my profile picture to a Shiba Inu. What's the point now? She already issued a campus-wide bounty. Then is Senior Shaw really going to make me drop out? No, I'm here. My roommate, Kevin, gawked at me. Holy crap. Ethan, you're dressed sharp. Blind date. I didn't bother answering. I folded the agreement I'd printed overnight and slipped it into my folder. Kevin craned over. Whoa, a repayment agreement. Who owes what? My sister does. Milk team money and half a month of idiot tax. Owed to Vivian Shaw. Vivian Shaw? The ruthless one from Law? The scammer Miss Shaw everyone's been talking about. That's you? Run, man. That woman can argue a person into the grave. I know, and you're still going? I have to. Otherwise, Chloe's packing her bags tomorrow. Downstairs, I found Chloe bundled up like a fugitive, still crying. Stop it. Tears are useless. Once Vivian Shaw takes one look at you, those few drops won't even fill the gaps in her teeth. I just wanted a cute girl to hang out with. So you use my photo. Why not your own? Because when I use mine, nobody looks twice. I took a long breath and reminded myself she's my sister. I can't hit her. About 500 meters from the gym, the air turned strange. Students clustered in twos and threes, phones out, glancing toward the gym and whispering. That guy's face looks familiar. Which one? The one in the jacket. They were all staring at me, right? Campus-wide bounty. I was basically a wanted man. At the entrance, I checked my watch. 9:58, right on schedule. Is he here? Is the Photoshop freak really going to show his face? Kevin muttered, maybe we should turn back. We came this far. Turning back gets us killed faster. Then the whispers exploded. Who is that? That face. I saw it on the confession wall. That's the doctored photo. Wait, That's not doctored. That's a real person. Guys, the main character's here. I kept my eyes forward and pulled Chloe straight through the crowd. Dead center on the bleachers by the court sat a girl, long legs crossed, one hand cradling her chin, the other lazily flipping documents. I met her eyes for a single second. Her whole expression froze, just for half a heartbeat, before she recovered and dropped her gaze back to the pages as if that lapse never happened. Vivian, I brought the agreement. I set it on the table. Plastic surgery. This face, you got work done. But the crowd caught it. She's just refusing to admit defeat. That expression a second ago, I recorded it. It's a genetic mutation, I said flatly. Born with it. Chloe piped up nervously. Bro, that's the exact same excuse I used yesterday. A bystander laughed. Guess the whole family shares a lying gene. Fine. Vivian was clearly the type to stay stubborn to the bitter end. She'd been stunned moments ago and was still bluffing. You told me to bring the agreement. Here it is. But before I sign, I have a question. Speak. Clauses 3 through 7 are completely unenforceable. There's no actual debt between the parties to begin with, so forcing a subrogation clause is plainly unfair. Clause 10 demands I substitute for my sister and provide a full year of unpaid labor, which is inherently unreasonable. Are you certain you want me to sign this? Her head snapped up, eyes wide, lips parting like she wanted to speak and swallowing it. Instead, the tips of her ears flushed red, fast and uncontrolled. The crowd lost its mind. Marry me. I'm from law, I called dibs. Every single point holds up. One shouted, Hey, want to renegotiate? Red climbed from her ears down her neck at visible speed. She sat frozen, fingers still resting on the third page, like someone had hit pause. You could hear a pin drop. This guy actually knows his stuff. Miss Shaw's taking an L today. Owen? Looks like she's about to take a husband. Ethan Carter, correct? Which department? She managed. Computer science. Sophomore. A CS sophomore who knows these rules this well. Does your advisor know you're neglecting your major? Knowing this isn't neglect. It's common sense. There's a fair amount in the relevant civil codes. An adult who spends 2 weekends reading through it can handle nearly every day. Agreement and contract dispute. Those 2 weekends of mine were meant for gaming, but I figured, in case my sister ever caused me trouble, I needed a shield. Kevin gaped. Bro, why didn't you tell me you read all that? Would you have understood it? Vivian went silent for 3 full seconds. Then she did what nobody expected. She tore the agreement to pieces. She actually ripped it. Am I dreaming? Is Vivian Shaw backing down? The agreement's void, she said. That bounty post from last night, I'm deleting it now. Very decisive of you. Your sister used your photo to scam me for half a month. I'll let it go, but on one condition. You said clauses 3 through 7 don't work. Granted. You said the unpaid labor clause is unreasonable. Granted. But what about the remaining 9? Tell me what's wrong with each of them. Testing him on the spot, someone breathed. Bro, you didn't actually crack all of them, did you? I did. Clause 8 sets breach penalties at 30% of the counterparty's annual income. Far too high a standard. No authority would uphold compensation that excessive. Clause 9 forces disputes into your local jurisdiction, but isn't phrased rigorously enough. In special circumstances, it'd be voided. Clause 10 is fine, a standard confidentiality provision. Clause 12 imposes joint liability on siblings, which isn't legally valid. Relatives don't shoulder each other's debts without cause. Clause 13 requires a public apology on breach, but never defines scope or method, so it'd be impossible to enforce. Clauses 14 through 16 are written far too vaguely, full of loopholes. Clause 17 is the signature line. I paused. Vivian, did you draft this yourself? Or did a senior write it for you? A voice from the crowd cracked. I hereby announce from today, this is my husband. The entire law department is crying in the bathroom. Vivian stayed quiet a long time, long enough that I thought she'd storm off. Then she smiled. It transformed her whole face. She can smile? 3 years here, and this is my first time seeing it. Who is this guy? He made the demon smile. She stood, walked over step by step, and stopped in front of me. Ethan, that agreement. I wrote it myself. I know. How? A professional wouldn't make that many rookie mistakes. And the phrasing on relative liability in Clause 2 is the textbook example format. Stop showing off in front of me from now on. Okay. She stared at me 3 seconds, checking for sarcasm. Then she pulled out her phone, opened the confession wall, and typed. Update. I think I offended my future husband. What do I do to make him stay? Waiting online, kind of urgent. She glanced up. 3rd floor of the library. I'll draft you a new agreement. Dinner's on me. The video from that day cleared 200,000 views in under 2 hours. I hid in my dorm and killed my phone for 3 days, too rattled to even answer my advisor. Kevin hugged me daily and wailed, "Teach me your ways." I just want Vivian Shaw to buy me dinner once. Chloe, on the other hand, got a whole new lease on life and started strutting. That's my brother, my actual biological brother. She was basically a walking QR code advertisement. Wednesday, 6:55 p.m. I arrive at the library's 3rd floor on time, keeping my head down. I've been in the spotlight enough this week that one more candid photo might force me to move off campus overnight. About last time's agreement, Vivian said. How many clauses did you write this round? 7. Double-checked each one. Picked them apart. I scanned it end to end. She genuinely improved. No obvious loopholes anymore. Did you pull an all-nighter on this? No. The dark circles say otherwise. She reflexively touched the corner of her eye, then caught herself. Ethan, stop flexing your observation skills in front of me. I just smiled. Around us, students glanced over, radiating the pure agony of being unable to focus on studying. She was about to speak again when heavy footsteps echoed up the stairwell, the kind that announced their owner. A guy in a dark trench coat walked straight to our table without sparing me a glance. Vivian, I've been looking for you for 3 days. You didn't pick up my calls or answer my messages. Marcus, I already told you. We have nothing to discuss. Nothing to discuss? Uncle Shaw had dinner with my father last week. They're arranging our marriage. His eyes slid to me, sizing me up. Is this the sore demon face trending online? Vivian, when did your taste sink low enough to hang around an internet celebrity coasting on his face? I lifted the glass of water on the table and took a slow sip. A little cold. Vivian shot to her feet, ready to lash out. I raised a hand and gently pressed her wrist down. Excuse me. I read in the news that last week the CEO of the Shaw Group, Vivian's father, was attending a summit abroad the entire time. Meanwhile, the Bennett family's business is strictly domestic. So how exactly did your father meet hers? Marcus, publicly fabricating a relationship and deliberately belittling others already constitutes malicious defamation. If Vivian's father chose to pursue it, both your reputation and your father's would take a serious hit, and the legal fallout would drag on. Win or lose, the Bennett name in business circles would be cut in half first. The crowd stirred. Young Master Bennett? The Steel and Cement family? Was that really as bad as he said? Could it wipe out half their market value? Just the reputational damage alone would drop their stock 3 points. Who do you think you are? Marcus snarled. Nobody special. Just a sophomore who writes code. But what you said in a public place, with unnamed third parties present, was a personal attack against Vivian and me. Everyone's reputation is protected by law. We're well within our rights to hold you accountable. I turned to a nearby girl. Miss, please don't delete the video you just recorded. I won't. 3 backups. Uploading to the cloud right now. Marcus turned red. Fine, Ethan. Slick mouth. Then tell me, do you even know where the Shaw family city project is stuck? Uncle Shaw flew home last week, and the first thing he did was call my dad. You think drafting a contract and quoting a few rules earns you a seat at our table? I said nothing, but Vivian looked up. Marcus, my father called your father to negotiate buying back the 15% equity the Bennett family holds. The price is already pushed to 60% of market value. The contract reached your house last Friday. Whether your father signed it or not, go home and ask him yourself. How do you know that? I'm the eldest daughter of the Shaw family. Did you think I spend all day bickering with people like you at school? The crowd buzzed. She's no pushover either. Her earlier embarrassment just vanished. Also, Vivian added, delete the words Uncle Shaw from your vocabulary. My father is not close with yours. Did you hear that? The Shaw heiress said it herself. They're buying back the Bennett shares at 60%. The Bennetts are about to get swallowed whole. Young Master Bennett's arrogance was all a bluff. Ethan, you just wait. I've been waiting. Anything else? Want to insult me again? That phone's still recording. 4K, great lighting. He flicked his sleeves and stormed off. Did everyone get that on camera? Ethan Carter, sophomore, computer science. Remember the name. He's the next internet sensation. Stop filming, Vivian snapped. That's my future husband. If pretty girls start harassing my man, whose fault is that? This guy's not just handsome. He knows law and business and exactly how to bury someone. And he's a CS major. That's a cross-disciplinary beatdown. I'm re-enrolling in my law elective today. Ethan, let's talk somewhere else, she said. Too noisy here. I'm treating you to a meal. We ended up at a Hunan restaurant called Southlake. Vivian took a corner seat by the window, pushed the menu at me, and ordered herself only a lemonade. I picked 2 dishes. Ethan, back in the library, all those rules about defamation. How do you know them so thoroughly? Those 2 weekends beside civil code, I happen to read a lot on reputation and personal rights. It adds up. She went quiet 3 seconds, then looked up with an expression I couldn't name. Ethan, you shouldn't be in computer science. Then where should I be? She didn't answer. Do you have some kind of plan around studying law? I'll tell you if the chance comes up. Halfway through the meal, I set down my chopsticks. Vivian, I didn't read this closely earlier. Now that I have time, the clauses on apologies and emotional distress compensation are very professionally written, no major flaws. But there's one, the older brother taking responsibility for the younger sister's debts. Loyal sounding, but unreasonable to put in here. If I keep covering for Chloe, she'll get used to it. Trouble she never faces herself, she'll never grow out of. That's not helping her. That's spoiling her. Think whatever you want. What are you looking at? This matter ends here. Why the sudden change of heart? None of your business. What she didn't say aloud, I'd only understand later. From the first moment she saw me, she'd realized a face that perfect actually existed, and by then she wasn't even angry anymore. She'd written this silly agreement just to have an excuse to see me again, and now she couldn't bring herself to make me sign it. The lamplight fell diagonally across the torn pieces on the table. I stared 3 seconds, and a new, very different idea took shape in my mind. Ethan, wake up. Something huge. Kevin was shaking me. I squinted at the pin post. Exposing the sword demon face, Ethan Carter's academic fraud, bribed tutors, and his sister's underage dating history. It was written professionally, with images, a timeline, chat screenshots. It claimed my provincial math modeling award freshman year was bought, that my mother pulled strings to get me admitted, that Chloe had 4 boyfriends through 3 years of high school, complete with candid photos. The final paragraph was the nastiest, urging the school to investigate and expel us. Posted at 2:07 a.m. It had over 1,000 shares by 4. Bro, is that photo of Chloe real? It's fake. How are you sure? In that photo, she's wearing our high school uniform. The collar stripe is from the redesign the school switched to last year. When she was actually in high school, that stripe was still on the cuffs. You remember the uniform details? From elementary through high school, I washed every one of her uniforms. I walked to my computer and sat down. This wasn't hard. The posting account was a burner registered under 12 hours ago. The IP was masked professionally, routed through 3 proxy layers. Most people would give up here. But any data stream leaving the campus network eventually returns to a real physical address at some layer. I opened the tracking script I've been building for 3 years and fed it the account's UID and login IP range. 40 seconds later, a real IP appeared. A 24-hour internet cafe on the east side of the city. I typed a few more lines and pulled every active account under that IP from the last 72 hours. 7 accounts. 6 were bots posting identical smear articles, same templates word for word. The seventh account's registered phone number ended in 6371. I opened the contact info Vivian had tossed me the day before with her note, "Just block this kind of person." I laughed, angry. "Young Master Bennett, you registered a burner with your real phone number? If you're my apprentice, I'd expel you on the spot." I cross-referenced the 6 bots' timestamps and cached each forwarding link along with fragments of payment records. That Eastside Cafe ran an absurdly outdated membership system. Login records saved straight to the local drive. In the past week, he'd gone 4 times, always at 2 a.m. I packaged and encrypted everything, made 3 backups, and checked the time. 4:47 a.m. "You there?" I messaged Vivian. "Yeah, why are you awake?" "Just finished reading the post." "Ethan, I've already got people handling it." Those 2 sentences quietly dissolved the irritation in my chest. "You don't need to. I'll do it myself." I dragged the neat zip file into the chat. "Tomorrow, 10 a.m. The principal's office. Coming. What should I wear? We haven't even started and you're worried about clothes. Wear what you wore when you tore up the agreement. Today we tear Marcus in half. Then what are you wearing?" I closed the laptop and turned to find Kevin staring, wide-eyed. "Bro, in those 10 minutes. Can you install that script for me too?" "For what?" "I want to know who in the next dorm keeps stealing my instant noodles at midnight." At 9:50, I stood at the end of the administration building's 3rd-floor corridor. When Vivian walked over from the far end, I looked up. "You actually wore the exact same outfit. It's comfortable. The stuff's in here." She eyed my crumpled paper bag 3 seconds, wanted to say something, and kept it in. Then she knocked on the dark brown door. "Come in." Dean Morrison, 50s, gold-rimmed glasses, was reviewing a stack of documents. 2 people already sat opposite him, Marcus Bennett and his father, Gerald Bennett. "Uncle Bennett," Vivian said coolly. The smile on Gerald's face froze for half a second. "And this must be young Mr. Carter. We called you here about last night's post." Chairman Bennett has already come forward and explained. The school looked into it. An intern at the Bennett Company posted it on his own to curry favor with Marcus. The matter's been handled. Chairman Bennett is willing to take responsibility, issue a public clarification, and compensate you for the reputational damage. I glanced at Marcus, arms crossed, smug. The Bennetts were well rehearsed at this routine. "Dean Morrison, may I borrow your computer for 3 minutes?" He instinctively pushed his laptop over. Gerald's eyes narrowed. I ignored him, plugged in my drive, typed a few commands, and a clean window opened. The post published last night at 2:07 a.m. The posting account's UID is this string. Registered at 1:48 a.m. The phone number was encrypted, but the original ends in 6371. Within the last 72 hours, this account logged in from PC Station 7 on the 2nd floor of the Xinguang Internet Cafe on the east side for times. Those 4 login times correspond exactly to when 6 bot accounts posted the smear articles on the confession wall and 3 other public platforms. "Chairman Bennett, you said it was an intern acting alone. Young man, technical claims can't be taken at your word, which is why I sent the identical, complete dataset to the school's network center. The receipt confirmation came in 10 minutes ago. Where did you get this data?" "A script I wrote myself." "You said you're a CS sophomore?" "Yes. Ethan doesn't plan to press criminal charges today. However, the part of the post spreading rumors about me, specifically the claim that I climbed through connections, carries a subtext that the Shaw family is backing me from the shadows. What will Vivian's father think when he hears that? What will the outsiders eyeing the Shaw family's equity think?" Vivian slid a document onto the desk. "This is the supplementary agreement on buying back the Bennett shares, prepared by my father's lawyers last week. Original price, 60% of market value. As of today, adjusted to 30. Uncle Bennett, go home and discuss it with my father. Dean Morrison, apologies for the intrusion. Let's go, Ethan." Outside, a girl approached. "Ethan, it really is you. I'm Sabrina Lynn. 10 years ago, my dad used to bring me to your house all the time. I had a vague memory. I just transferred in freshman finance. What a coincidence. Can I add your WeChat? I'd love to catch up." "Sure. After she left, Vivian frowned. Sabrina Lynn, daughter of Harold Lynn, chairman of the Lynn Group. That approach was too deliberate. The way she looked at you like she wants to pursue you, but something's off. Stay away from her until I look into things. Then, Ethan, are you selling that script? No. Why not? I wrote it freshman year and revised it 137 times. Sell it to you, and what would you do with it? Anti-fraud, anti-astroturfing, commercial due diligence. Huge market demand. The demand is exactly why I can't sell it. On its own, the script is worth $200,000 at most. But built into a full product suite, registered under a company, fleshed out front and back end, connected to commercial credit databases, it could be worth 8 figures. You want to do it yourself? I want to find someone to do it with. Ooh, I said nothing, just looked at her. That was my answer. Midsummer light filtered through layers of ginkgo leaves, scattering like shattered crystal across the path. The drooping branches perfectly hid the shyness and the racing hearts in our eyes. Ethan, your whole play from 2 a.m. last night to 10 a.m. today took under 8 hours. Finding the IP, gathering evidence, booking the principal, coordinating with me, backing up to the network center, having me produce the buyback agreement. Every step perfectly timed. You planned all of it from the start, didn't you? Yes. Why did you come to me? Because the day you tore up that agreement, I saw a cover on your desk. Shaw Corporation Legal Department Internship Manual. This summer you interned in your father's legal department doing compliance reviews. Back at school, you single-handedly took on compliance work for 2 small companies near campus and ran a consulting account. Your latest post went up September 4th. 10 common compliance traps for small businesses around campus. 2,300 views. Top comment. When is Senior Shaw starting her own company? I'll throw money at it first. How do you know my view count? I looked it up. Vivian, I want to start a company. Anti-fraud and anti-astroturfing. I supply the commercial anti-phishing tech. I cover the initial investment. Legal framework, compliance, and external contracts fall to you. 50-50. All right, I'll think about it. Over the next week, my accidental run-ins with Sabrina multiplied. I remember you like Americanos. Downstairs of the teaching building, we'd always happen to cross paths. I'm headed that way too. Let's walk together. Kevin was floored. Ethan, what god-tier luck do you have? You haven't even won the Shaw Heiress yet, and now a rich girl's chasing you. Honestly, Sabrina's approach was hard to dislike. Never too eager, never cold. Always just the right distance, enough to feel interested without pressure. But something felt off. Ethan, what are you researching? My hands paused. On screen was a paper about corporate auditing processes. Just something for paper. What a coincidence. My father's company gets audited all the time. I know a lot about this. Want help? No need. I've got it. Then, by the way, do you remember when I visited your house? Your father was incredibly busy, always working late in his study. He was an auditor, right? I've always wanted to tell you. Before your parents' accident, my father's company happened to be undergoing an audit. The project was extremely complex. Your father pulled a lot of all-nighters. And on the day of the accident, I heard he'd worked late again. I've always worried. Do you think it was my father's company's project that exhausted him, ruined his mental state, and led to? If you really think that way, then the Lynn Group indirectly caused your father's crash. She was testing the waters, testing whether I knew what really happened, my attitude toward the Lynns, and whether I held any evidence. Sabrina, I don't blame your family. Really, it's been so long. Let the past stay in the past. That's a relief. I always worried you'd. Thank you for thinking that way. So we're friends now. Yeah, friends. After she left, I messaged Vivian. She's definitely acting suspicious. How did you answer? Told her I don't blame them. Let the past stay in the past. You're surprisingly convincing when you lie. Learned it from you. Then Chloe messaged, shaken. Bro, I'm at our old house getting the photo album Mom left, and I found a USB drive. It has Mom's handwriting on it. For Ethan and Chloe. Open this when you're older. I plugged it in, and a password prompt popped up. It also said, self-destructs after 3 wrong attempts. Don't touch it. I'm coming. Leaving campus, I ran into Vivian. Seeing my hurry, she offered a ride. In the driver's seat sat a middle-aged man in a black suit. You have a personal driver? Yeah. When I'm at class, he waits in a coffee shop outside the gate, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Ethan, your parents crash. 7 years ago, Chloe and I were in middle school. The sycamores blurred past the window. Vivian didn't press, just rested her elbow on the sill and watched the street retreat. 20 minutes later, we reached the old buildings in the south of the city. The apartment held a faint scent of camphor, Mom's favorite. On the coffee table sat a dark wooden box, lid open, one solitary USB drive inside. For Ethan and Chloe. Open this when you're older. I plugged it in. White text on blue. Please enter password. 3 attempts remaining. Self-destructs after 3 incorrect attempts. What era is this encryption? The driver protocol looks around 2014. Mom was her company's CFO back then. Probably a custom company-issued drive. Is the self-destruct real? Hardware triggered. Nothing to do with the OS. 3 wrong passwords, and a small circuit on the board burns out. Any attempt to dismantle, read directly, or bypass it triggers the same mechanism. Then how we guess it? I stared, hands frozen. Vivian waited quietly behind me. Chloe blurted. Back then, Mom's first password was always her birthday. 0317. Incorrect password. Chloe went pale. Impossible. Mom used that everywhere. She specifically wrote, "Open when you're older," Vivian said softly. Whatever's hidden here, she wouldn't lock with her everyday password. She wanted you to figure it out. It's something she wanted you to remember. Mom loved gardenias. They bloomed on the balcony every May. Her favorite song to sing was about those flowers. Every birthday, her only wish was for the 4 of us to stay safe. I closed my eyes and typed 0512, the day the gardenias first bloomed. Wrong again. Bro, stop, please. Let's leave it, Chloe begged. Vivian helped Chloe to the sofa, then returned behind me. She said nothing, just rested a hand on my tense shoulder. Light and cool. But in that moment, the string in my mind that was about to snap steadied itself. Something she wanted you to remember, she murmured. Maybe a specific day. The day she was happiest. I remembered. On the hospital record card the day Chloe and I were born, Mom had written a small line in red pen in the corner. Today is the happiest day of my life. That card still sat at the bottom of the drawer in her bedroom. September 19th, 2002. I typed 0919 and hit enter. The screen went black a second, then a folder appeared. Inside, one video. The file name, for words. For Ethan and Chloe. Ethan, Chloe, if you're watching this, it means I'm no longer here. You've always believed your father's crash was an accident. It wasn't. It was the Lynn family. It was Harold Lynn. Your father was auditing the Lynn Group's accounts. He uncovered a $370 million funding gap, money siphoned from Lynn Real Estate's pre-sale escrow account, run through 7 shell companies, and finally landed in an offshore fund Harold Lynn privately controls. Your father compiled the evidence and was preparing to submit it to regulators. The night before he was supposed to, the crash happened. Ethan, I know you're brilliant. You've always seen further than other kids. But I beg you, don't be reckless. Harold Lynn has operated in this city for 20 years, connected in both politics and business. All the evidence your father gathered vanished after the accident. I've spent years quietly rebuilding it. On this drive, besides this video, there's a folder with everything I managed to gather. But it still isn't enough. It's missing the crucial link, the true controller information for those 7 shell companies and the original transfer vouchers. I couldn't find them. So I'm leaving this to you. If one day you feel strong enough, finish this for your father and me. But if it's too hard or too dangerous, destroy the drive. I won't blame you. I only want you and Chloe safe. Vivian's hand was still on my shoulder. Her fingertips pressed down slightly, checking if I was holding together. I was. I opened the second folder. 47 files. Scanned documents, bank statements, screenshots, email records, corporate registration changes, and a few audio recordings. I spent about 5 minutes studying the directory structure, then closed the laptop. Bro, who is this? Lynn. The Lynn Group, biggest real estate developer in the city. For listed subsidiaries. Last year's revenue broke $20 billion. He's a standing committee member of the municipal advisory body, top 3 taxpayer, 8 years running. Then what do? We go back to school. This isn't something we solve today. In the car, Vivian spoke quietly. Lynn. To think it was him. My father's in real estate too, and crossed paths with the Lynns twice on projects. The last time was 3 years ago, a joint bid for an old city renovation. The Lynns won. My father said nothing, but when he got home, he took Lynn's business card off his desk and fed it to the shredder. What are you saying? That Lynn isn't someone an ordinary person can touch. I know. What are you planning? I didn't answer right away. I looked at the drive in my hand. The 47 files are mostly circumstantial. Bank statements, corporate changes, email screenshots. Brought into the open, they only prove the money flow was abnormal. Nothing points directly at Lynn. It's missing the true controller info for the 7 shells and the original transfer vouchers. 7 years on, those are either destroyed or hidden where I can't reach yet. Domestic corporate systems only register nominees for this level of offshore structuring. The real controllers are buried in overseas registry archives. Then how will you find it? You asked if I was selling the script. Its core capability is data tracking. Scraping troll IP records is the surface. The true core module I've never shown anyone. It penetrates multiple layers of network camouflage and, from packet characteristics and transmission trajectories, pinpoints the actual device behind everything. Those 7 shell companies, even registered overseas, their daily operations inevitably involve financial transactions with the mainland. As long as there's a single data link, even one email, one transfer directive, one encrypted message, I follow that thread and drag the true controller out of the shells. And into the light. Vivian looked at me a long time. The living room was very quiet. Chloe had stopped crying. Finally, Vivian spoke. Ethan, that company you mentioned. Anti-fraud, anti-astroturfing, commercial anti-phishing. I'm investing. The condition? When the day comes that you're ready to move against Lynn, all legal matters will be handled entirely by me. Deal. On the drive back, Chloe cried herself to sleep against the seat. Vivian sat beside me, a leather notebook open on her lap. I glanced to the top of the page. 2 words in bold. Daybreak Technologies. What does it mean? The company's name. From an old book of odes. There's a line about the morning star, the first star to shine right before the long night ends and dawn breaks. Even a STEM guy like me can appreciate that. You don't like it? I like it. Then what's with that expression? I just remember my mother's favorite song. There's a lyric, say goodbye before dawn. Vivian's pen stopped. She was silent a moment, then wrote a small line beneath the company name. The faint light of dawn is never late and never absent. At 4 p.m., the car pulled up smoothly at the school gates. I walked the sleepy Chloe to her dorm. She clung to me, refusing to let go until the dorm auntie coaxed her inside. Vivian and I walked side by side down the campus path when a commotion broke out ahead. A crowd had gathered at an intersection. In the center stood a girl, Sabrina Lynn. I said it's a little over 200 total, not a cent more. Miss, when you ordered, we clearly agreed on 1,000. These trashy flowers are worth 1,000? I don't want them. 200 is generous. One more word, and I'll have my father make a call, and your whole delivery station won't see a single order this month. I stopped. This domineering Sabrina was nothing like the gentle, polite girl who'd approached me, night and day. So this was her true face. I walked straight in. Sabrina, the order number's right there. A quick check on the platform's backend settles it. The actual cost is set by the system. That was a system error. Once an online transaction is submitted, the agreement takes effect. You can't unilaterally change it on a whim. Ethan, are you sticking your nose into my business? No, but you just threatened to use your connections to crush an entire delivery station. Threatening someone's normal business operations crosses the legal line. If they pursue it, it does your father and the Lynn family no good. Daybreak Technologies officially opens next week. If this isn't resolved within 24 hours with a written apology and full payment, Call this number. We'll handle it free of charge. Ethan, don't get cocky. Once my father hears about this, you'll learn exactly who runs this school. Do me a favor. Pass a message to Harold Lynn. Tell him I've been waiting 7 years. Sabrina took a half step back, awkwardly shoved her way out of the crowd, and hurried off. You're deliberately alerting the snake, Vivian said. Harold Lynn will realize the clues from that incident are still out there. The moment he moves, I follow the flaws he exposes and drag those 7 shells out one by one. Daybreak's registration finishes tomorrow. We start immediately. That night, before lights out, I methodically completed 3 tasks. First, I copied all 47 files onto an old laptop fully disconnected from the internet, sealed the original drive in an anti-magnetic bag, and slipped it under my mattress. Bro, what treasure are you hiding? Something that guarantees you graduate smoothly. I saw nothing. Good boy. Second, I unlinked all my usual accounts, emails, and messaging apps from the campus. Network and set up automated scripts to simulate my daily behavior, likes and interactions on schedule, even my habit of browsing videos in the early hours, all perfectly fake to cover my real tracks. Third, on my main work computer, I deliberately created a folder that looked heavily encrypted and secured, named Lynn Group 2017 Original Audit Archives. Inside were 47 PDFs, each containing a single word. Welcome. At 2:47 a.m., the backup machine, running year-round surveillance, flashed an alert. Target folder access attempt triggered. Source IP. Overseas multi-layer proxy routing. I sat up, put on my headphones, and locked on a screen. The intruder's IP bounced across regions worldwide, cloaked in layers. Ordinary tracking would lose the trail by the second layer. I didn't intercept. I let them break the surface disguise, enter the folder, and download those 47 identical documents. With every download request, it quietly implanted a silent beacon code I'd written. It stole nothing, damaged nothing, and dodged antivirus. Its only job was to send my server the current device's time string every 60 seconds. A single timestamp is worthless. But if 7 separate devices continuously send back the exact same time, I could be certain they shared the same core time server. And that server was the central fund dispatch hub for the 7 domestic shell companies. Once the download finished, the intruder cleanly disconnected. I waited. 1 minute. 2. At 3 minutes, 7 independent signals came back on time, corresponding to 7 terminal devices. I marked the coordinates one by one on a digital map. The final coordinate landed in the Jiangwan district, the 37th floor of the Lynn Group headquarters. I took a deep breath, packaged the IP addresses and transmission fingerprints, encrypted them, and named the file Daybreak 001 Original Evidence Chain. Then I messaged Vivian. How many fish took the bait? 7 of them. Ethan, my father was up all night too. Harold Lynn contacted him. How? He called personally to probe my father, asking why the Shaws let us get so close. What did your father say? Just a few words. My daughter's business is none of my concern. Before hanging up, he added one thing. But if anything happens to that young man, I'll make it my concern. Thank your father for me. Thank him yourself. Next Wednesday night, he's hosting a dinner and inviting you. Why next Wednesday? Next Tuesday, my father's legal team delivers the final equity repurchase agreement to Harold Lynn. Under it, the Lynn Group shares held by the Bennett family get bought out at 50% of market price. He signs whether he wants to or not. Once he does, the Lynn Group's cash flow is instantly halved. I'll leave the rest of the mess to you. The dorm was silent, but for Kevin's rhythmic snoring. Pale moonlight slipped through the curtain gap onto the old family photo at the corner of the desk. My mother's eyes were gentle, her smile serene, exactly like the final frozen frame of that video. Mom, Dad, it's almost time. Wednesday night, I changed into the custom black suit Vivian had sent to my dorm. Kevin fingered the fabric, eyes full of envy. You look too good, bro. This must cost a fortune. Inside a private club by the Westlake, I entered the room. Richard Shaw looked up. Have a seat, young Carter. Vivian tells me you two plan to start a company together. Yes, Uncle Shaw. We'll focus on anti-fraud, anti-astroturfing, and commercial due diligence. How much startup capital do you need? I'll cover it entirely on my own. How will you split the equity? 50-50. A 50-50 model makes scaling hard. When opinions clash, who makes the final call? Uncle Shaw, 50-50 only limits a company if both parties are solely chasing scale and profit. My goal is to do the right things properly. Vivian's is to protect the people around her. Our goals complement each other. This company doesn't need an absolute dictator. Halfway through the banquet, Richard's assistant hurried in and whispered a report. After listening, Richard handed me his phone. Lynn Group Chairman Harold Lynn taken into custody for investigation on multiple charges, including corporate embezzlement, misappropriation of funds, and bribery. Published at 7:26 p.m. Below the headline were 3 photos. Harold Lynn escorted out of the Lynn building by investigators, an official bulletin from the Economic Crime Unit, and a complete fund flowchart of the 7 shell companies, the exact core evidence chain I compiled. I handed the phone back, my face calm. Richard picked up his bowl and chopsticks again. Tone even. Young Carter, 7 years of endurance. You've worked hard. The heavy knot I'd carried for 7 years quietly dissolved in that moment. Yeah. The next morning, official figures came out. The Lynn Group's frozen assets totaled 4.7 billion yuan. Sabrina Lynn dropped out and fled the country overnight. All 4 listed subsidiaries suspended trading. The Shaw family's repurchase agreement executed officially. At the very last moment before the 3 p.m. market suspension, the city's Economic Crime Unit dropped a bombshell. The traffic accident ruled accidental 7 years ago had officially been reopened for investigation. 3 key suspects have been identified. The campus erupted. Kevin burst into the dorm, clutching his phone, completely hyped. At dusk, I returned to the old house in the south of the city, took out the old laptop, and played my mother's video once more. Her gentle smile was as clear as ever. Bro, Sister Shaw's downstairs. Ethan, Vivian said as I came down. Daybreak Technologies officially opens tomorrow. My father said something to me today. What? He said, that young man, don't let him get away. The draft of our cooperation agreement, I've already revised it. Ethan, the stars are beautiful tonight. 3 years later, Daybreak Technologies had grown into the country's industry. Benchmark for anti-fraud and commercial due diligence, with branches in 7 cities. The script, once meant only to hunt trolls, had evolved into a comprehensive, mature commercial security defense system. It helped hundreds of companies avoid major risks and assisted police in cracking over a dozen transnational fraud cases. On the day of the company's annual gala, I stood on stage giving a speech, the room packed with employees. In the very front row, Vivian sat flipping through a document, glancing up now and then with a faint, almost imperceptible smile. When I finished, she walked up, handed me a folder, and said in a strictly professional tone, President Carter, this is next year's strategic plan. Legal has already reviewed it. I took it and turned to the first page. The title read, Detailed Proposal Regarding the Wedding Preparation for Mr. Ethan Carter and Miss Vivian Shaw. The crowd erupted into cheers and whistles. I looked up at her. The tips of her ears were fully red, but she kept her cool. President Carter, this proposal requires your signature for confirmation. Execution date, the 18th of next month. Why the 18th? Because that's your parents' wedding anniversary. I took her hand and, in front of everyone, solemnly signed my name. Later we went to the old house in the south of the city, stood side by side before my parents' portraits, and offered them a toast. At the wedding, someone asked Chloe about her love life. Me? My brother and sister-in-law met in college. Now, they run a business and share a life. I want to find someone like that too. Actually, I'm at a design firm now. Last month, a new project manager joined. He's reliable and hardworking. Look at that face. You're already dating, aren't you? He says he wants to wait until he passes probation and his job is stable before officially pursuing me. I've learned my lesson. I won't be reckless like before. Besides, I wouldn't dare date just anyone. What if my brother doesn't approve? As long as he has good character and treats you well, I won't object. Vivian gently linked her arm through mine. Looking at the warm, lively scene before us, an indescribable fullness welled up in my chest. 7 years ago, on a furious late night, she'd posted a bounty on the confession wall, screaming about hunting down the Photoshop freak and threatening to destroy me. Who could have guessed that the gaming avatar she fell for at first sight would become a man she'd spend her whole life beside? At the thought, Vivian held on tighter, looking up at me, her eyes brimming with tenderness she couldn't hide. Feeling her lean into me, I turned and looked at my wife, then at my sister who was still, hoping for her own romance, and the corners of my mouth lifted on their own. All those nights I gritted my teeth and pushed through the dark, all those hidden, grueling moments had transformed into this hard-won, imperfect, perfect scene before my eyes. I knew that no matter how long the night, dawn always breaks. And now, our family had finally reached our own daylight. The story of Daybreak Technologies was still going.